Bienvenidas a la capital del Imperio Azteca.
Buenas noches.
My name is Nancy Garcia Loza. I'm executive director of Colectivo El Pozo. It's a Spanish language theater company here in Chicago. The way that I got involved in this was kind of haphazardly. It was kind of a little bit of an accident. I don't have theater studies and theater discipline in my background. It's not my formation. I think really the way I fell into theater starts way back. I always had a love for stories and the stories around us. When I look back at my great-grandparents, all of them were illiterate. I think there's a very special narrative in my family of how people navigated life without knowing how to read or write. And part of the thing that I think they dealt with very creatively and imaginatively is the way they passed on stories to us through oral tradition. And I think that's kind of where the bug started for me without calling it theater at that time. I get to college and I do Latino studies and Spanish. Still don't get involved in theater, but I lived with the theater roommate for about 4 years. And it's really funny because I'm going to all her plays, being really supportive. As I get closer to finishing school, I freaked out, didn't know what I was going to do with my degree. It probably took me another 4 years to finish my last year of school. And I took a full-time job at that time, and then I worked for 5 years in office job. I ran an insurance agency. In 2011, after 5 years at that job, there were no more challenges. There was nothing left to learn. I was like a little robot going to work. It was I needed to move on. And I was being too scared to go explore what is the next thing for me. So in 2011, I turned in my job. I trained my replacement for 3 or 4 months. And I made a hit list of all the different art forms that I wanted to explore that I had been too scared and safe to try because I didn't think that they would translate into a career. I saw a play in the summer of 2011 and that's when it clicked for me. When I saw the play, I loved the way you can tell a story on a play. You can taste it, you can feel it, you can smell it. There's a really special connection that happens with live theater. And that's when I got the bug. When I started volunteering at different theater organizations, one of the things that stood out right away was actually my admin background. Truly, as simple as saying I'm going to do something and I got it done on a deadline. I took that for granted, and you'd be surprised how many people they don't deliver. And so my work ethic started to really stand out in theater, and the word got around in the Latino theater community in Chicago. February 2012, I get a call from a Mexican writer, Chicago-based, named Raul Dorantes. And he calls me and tells me, I have this loose collective of writers. They're not theater writers. He's but I want to do a play, and I'm going to be involved in a theater festival in Little Village. He goes, and I noticed that when you're volunteering, he goes, haces mucho ruido. He's I don't know what you're doing. He's but you're getting attention. He's do you want to market our play? And so I got super excited, and I just said yes. As soon as I got off the phone, I was you are in over your head. You have no idea what you're doing. You need to call that man and tell him he's made a huge mistake. I looked at a bunch of theater companies in Chicago, commercial theater companies in Chicago, and I looked at what are they doing right around the time that they're going to open a play? What do they post on their website? What do their press releases look like? We've sold out about 70 to 70% of our shows, which is that's a very unique thing. And it was crazy because really, by all accounts, we should not have had success in it. We were a loose collective of unknown people, an unknown company. We were just people that were really kind of bound together by a passion for creating theater and telling stories. All of a sudden, after that play, we were on the map, and my name started getting around a little bit more. 6 months after I did that project, I got called again by Raul, and he said, Nancy, do you want to be executive director? He's I talked to the other writers in the group, and we think that you have what it takes to bring us to a different level and legitimize us as a theater company. He's and we want to offer that to you. I thought I'd compromise them too. If I didn't know what to do and I failed, I was I don't want that on me. So I did get a little nervous. I had all those scared feelings again. They persisted, and I thought about it for about 4 weeks. And after 4 weeks, I did accept. So now I'm executive director, and really in the producing capacity at Colectivo El Pozo. So we're still self-producing most of our work. We haven't deviated much from where we started, which is to explore stories that are driven by the U.S. Latino diaspora. I've had some real prominent highlights in this role. I've also had my hard lessons and a few tears and a few sleepless nights too. We had some real special shows last fall. We had a show called The Inexplicable Pastrana. So that was one of our first performances ever on a main stage. And again, it's really a big thing for us because we're self-produced.
Bienvenido a Incas, la capital del Imperio Azteca.
Our current project right now, El Incas, is actually backed by a MAP Fund. It's an arm of Doris Duke Foundation, and it's one of our first ever plays that'll actually be presented that's backed by a prestigious funder. The play also deals with issues that are typically taboo in the Latino community. So we're going to be dealing with LGBT. We're going to be dealing with like 2 stories of closeted and open gay relationships between men. It's a Latino story. It's a story too about immigrants. This play's presented in Spanish.
Tal vez con vos sos otro nombre, no sé, o tal vez ustedes tienen una relación abierta y él te cuenta sobre mí.
All of our work is always presented with super titles. So imagine the same way you watch a movie and you see subtitles, our plays are presented the same way. We're one of the first companies that ever had the sort of like the genius of presenting work in 2 languages. What you're presenting live, and then the super titles, which are always like, I always tell people they're in the sky of the play. Our work really does bring in people that are monolingual, people that don't speak Spanish. We have Russian monolingual people that come to our play. We have English dominant speakers that come to our play. We also have a lot of people that come see our shows, they're learning Spanish, and they love being able to see a live performance, and while they're learning language, be able to see the subtitles. Some of the things that are really important to us, I think like I carry over from my admin background, is really just that people know that while we're new and we're really building ourselves, there is a space here in Chicago where if you speak Spanish and you want to hear your story, there's a door, and we're that door. If you want to see a play and take your child, you can sort of like pass on a reflection of who you are and of our collective identity and our collective memory. If you want to explore that, there's a stage to do that, and it's Colectivo El Pozo. So I hope, I've only been doing this for 2 years, I hope it's really just the beginning. I do hope it's something that in the end I can pass on. I don't hope to sit here like a little dinosaur always in this position. I just want to build something that's going to be here to stay in Chicago and really do like a very good and meaningful service for people that speak Spanish and the bilingual offspring they're bound to have in this country as well.
So let this light shine down upon you all, 'cause I know now